event of the death of the survivor.
Interesting point too, Norman, and correct me if I'm wrong clearly, because you are the expert. One of the good parts about a living trust is if I become incompetent during the course of my lifetime and only have a will, then my executor or executrix would have to petition the court to invade my will, where in fact during the course of a living trust, can't my successor trustee just take care of me?
Yes.
If I'm incapacitated.
Well, if you had a will, someone would go into court to have you declared incompetent.
That's what I mean,
yes.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Whereas if you name a beneficiary under a trust, the instrument automatically makes that person the administrator of the trust while you're still here, if you become legally incompetent.
Okay,
you
great.
don't have to go to court to be declared. The successor trustee can simply get a doctor's approval.
Living trust is more flexible than a will if something happens to
yes,
you, is my point.
much more.
Yeah.
Norman, in your book, you have so many different forms for trusts. Generally speaking, most estate planning people that we've spoken to say you form one trust, you put all of your assets into that trust. Are you suggesting that we should have different trusts for different kinds of assets?
Well, I tell you, I have a pocket here, and a pocket here, and one here. Why do they make so many pockets? And so it's because we have different needs so far. Why should a trust have just one pocket? You can separate your estate very nicely and neatly. You leave your house to somebody. You can set up a bank account naming your church or some other charity to receive that particular account. You don't have to have a big omnibus trust, you see.
Is it, in your opinion, better to have all these small trusts?
I think
than
it's
one?
better to have to separate them, yes.
Really? I'm amazed at that because I've always been schooled in one trust.
Yes, but you see, there are peculiar circumstances which relate to, say, the passing of real estate. So if you have one big trust, you have to write all that into it. Then stocks and bonds have a different way of being handled, and so you have to cover a lot of things there, transfer agents and all that sort of thing. The safe deposit box in the bank, patent rights, all these things have different phraseology which is needed in the trust. And my gosh, if you put it into one trust, everything that someone might think of, it's completely unnecessary. What you have, if you have a piece of real estate, is a trust that specifically provides for the passage of real estate.
I have a problem, Norman, and I mean this respectfully. I look at some of the forms you talk about, and maybe I'm not, no, I happen to be a detail person myself, but some of our viewers, I'm not very good at this form stuff. And I've worked my whole life, and you tell me to do the form, and I'm not saying it's not the right way to do it. And there's a problem.
If I don't,
who am I going to sue? Me?
Right.
Well, let's see. On the form, you have to put in your name.
Okay.
So far, are we all right?
I've got it.
Fine. Then you have to give your address.
Uh-oh.
Now,
You're being disrespectful, Norman.
I'm
trying to be nice.
You know where you are. You have to give the name of the beneficiary.
Okay.
And you have to sign it, and have 2 witnesses, and have a notary.
We are back. Our guest is the charming, opinionated, but tough. His name is Norman F. Dacey. He is author of How to Avoid Probate. If you'd like more information, you can pick up a copy of his book, or it is now in software, which I'm dying to see. Norman has them with him. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Let us give you the number if we may. The number is 1-800-242-3642. That's 1-800-242-3642. And our guest again is Norman F. Dacey. Norman, again, thanks for joining us.
Nice to
Great
be
to have
here.
you with us.
All right, we're going right to the phones because a lot of the questions are ones I would have asked myself, Norman. So let's start right in Florida first. Bert, welcome.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
First of all, I would like to say that I'm happy to see Sue Herrera back on the station from the other station I won't mention.
All right.
Good. Your phone would self-destruct. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I know. All right, my question is this. Several years ago, my mother made up a living trust for herself, and since that time, she has there was a will attached with the living trust. Since that time, she has purchased a home, a residence, and she has also opened a stock market account with a stock brokerage house. Neither one of those situations, she has just done that in her own name. She has not said her name and then as a trustee. So my question is, the properties and anything, all her personal properties that pass into the will that automatically be channeled into the trust, or does she have to have her personal property, like her residence, stated in her name plus trustee?
Well, whatever she has put in the trust and identified as a trust asset will pass to whomever she has named. But those things which she has named in her will, or which she has acquired since and has not identified as trust assets, will pass under the will, and some years from now they will pass to you.
So what you're saying is even a pour-over
That's
will
right.
will necessitate the probate.
Nothing can pour over until it has gone through probate, you see?
Okay.
So we're back by saying, by your standards, Norman Dacey, if you want it to be much quicker than by leaving part of it in a will, she can put, assumedly, almost anything into the living trust she chooses.
But you have to be very careful. Irene Marcus died a while ago in a few miles from here, actually, and she left a beautiful home which she and her husband had lived in, and full of antiques and all the family heirlooms, and she left everything to her two daughters. The lawyer who drew her will named himself as executor. Now, she had everything to the daughters, but he sold the house first. Then he had an auction sale of all of the contents of the house, and the two girls had to stand in the crowd and bid for the articles which their mother already left them.
Would a living trust have stopped that?
A living trust would have completely avoided that.
Okay.
There wouldn't have been any lawyer.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been a lawyer. Okay.
For sure. All right, off to Indiana. Nancy, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
I've wanted to tell you, I've just recently started hearing your program, and I love it so much that I ran right out and bought your book. I'm dying to read it.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I have a twofold question. Number one, a retired trust officer from a local bank happened to notice Mr. Dacey's book on the table in a friend's apartment. He said, "Oh, well, I'm afraid that won't do you any good. It has to be primed for Indiana." Now, I bought this book in a local bookstore, and the new edition is out there now too. My question is, are the forms good in Indiana?
The forms are good in every state in the Union. Indeed, they're good anywhere in the world. And as I've explained to you, 12,500,000 of them have been used, and not one has ever been declared invalid in Indiana or anywhere else.
Good. Nancy, did Nancy have another question? Okay, no. Okay, where are we going?
I guess we're having some phone problems, so we'll keep up with our own questions. So what you're saying is, because when we see these kits for do your own will, good in all 50 states, well, every state is different. I mean, we have some community property states, and we have some that are not community property states.
My trust forms are so written that they provide for community property as well as the property in other states which do not fall in that category.
How quickly will a trust settle?
Well, I have some letters in my briefcase there from people. One of them reports that he settled his aunt's estate in 30 minutes. That included going from one bank to another. You walk in with the form that the individual signed and a death certificate, and you walk out 5 minutes later with the money. If it is a piece of real estate, you do the same thing with a quitclaim deed, which is in the book. You file that in the land records, and immediately it is transferred to you or to whomever is the beneficiary.
Norman, what's revocable versus irrevocable?
Revocable means that you can change it, you can cancel it, amend it in any way. Irrevocable, it's frozen.
Why would I do one or the other? Is there a circumstance?
I would not set up an irrevocable trust.
Okay. I thought there might have been some tax
Don't tie
reasons.
up your money. You don't know what's going to happen.
I thought irrevocable would get some things out of my taxable estate, not so much, but would separate some of the assets and be better for tax.
Then you've made a gift to someone. Be sure that you pay a tax on the gift.
Okay. One other reason, though, at least in the past, people have used the irrevocable is so that if they were hit by a catastrophic illness, had to go into a nursing home, and it had been set up in enough time, 30 months before, that they would be able to go in and get get aid while they're in the nursing
without
home.
losing their assets.
Exactly.
In other words, they want the government to pay for their keep, but they don't want to contribute anything to it.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Does it work? No, but
it works with the irrevocable trust. Yes.
it does.
Yes.
All
Good.
right.
Let's flash up the number if we may. Our time is running out. The number, if you would like more information, well, how to buy, how to avoid probate, or in fact, the new software, Norman Dacey going high-tech on us. The number is 1-800-242-3642. That's 242-3642.
And the final question of the hour, because we're running out of time. You say we can do this without a lawyer.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Everything.
Don't
soup
go
to
near a
nuts.
lawyer.
Should a lawyer review it when I'm done?
No, not unless you're looking for trouble.
Okay.
Because the lawyer will attempt to work his way into your estate.
Thank you for watching, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe.